as you can see, I'm back again. Jose and I are back again, house sitting for our friends. And I'm disappointed. I had wanted to have this chair over the way it usually is in this corner with the beautiful windows or doors. And but there was too much light, so now it's one couch on top of a couch, whatever. But that's okay. Anyway, oh, this is Bella. Bella, come here. She is 6 months old. She is a combination of a Black Labrador and a Great Dane, and she's very loving. Anyway, I'm gonna tell again the story of, I'm gonna continue with our story of how we moved to Kenya. And in the last one, Jose had just gone over and rented the house. It was 2005 February, and he had rented the house for us, and we just assumed that once he rented the house, all the money would come in, because the money had come in sovereignly and supernaturally. It was just a miracle. If you see in the last time I told the story of how the money came in for him to go over and rent the house without us even asking, it just came. And so we just assumed that if that had already, God had had us go over and rent the house, that we would be moving very shortly. And we just assumed that we would be moving around May. This was February, we thought probably May. And God's ways are higher than ours, and it doesn't always happen. It usually doesn't happen the way we think, and his timing is always different than our timing. But you know what? If you believe in something that he's told you, that you know that he's told you, it will come to pass. If you just follow his little steps, which sometimes are very, very uncomfortable. But whatever he asked you to do, even if it is hard, you can always get through it and come out on the other side. Okay, so we were waiting, and now we had to tell my family. And it had been really, really hard for them before, when we had gone through our faith process of moving everything, giving everything away and moving to New Mexico. And they had been very kind, and they had used money that was given to me but set aside without me having control, because in their eyes I had proved myself untrustworthy with money because of giving everything away. So they had set up a fund for us. And with this fund, they had bought a nice piece of land and a beautiful home, which we had lived in. The whole time in New Mexico was 8 years, and we lived in that home for 6 years, okay? But the thing is that, they truly did not understand our ways, and they thought that we were out of our minds when we told them that we were moving to Kenya. And they were trying to help us by saying, look, if you do this, continue with this crazy idea, we're gonna have to take away access to this home and access to this car, because they had also purchased a nice van. So we had to go with what we believed. And it was painful, very, very painful. And we did not know where we were gonna end up, because, we thought we were going to be in Kenya, right? But anyway, God, knowing that it wasn't going to be as easy as that, way before, months and months before this, a friend of mine had come to me, and she had said, for some weird reason, she felt God spoke to her that she was supposed to feed us. And not understanding what this was all about, she several times invited us over to eat. But in a way, now in retrospect, we see that God was preparing her for what was to come. Because when I was telling her the situation of how we're going to move out, and she said, we believe that it's not going to take that long for you to get to Kenya. So, maybe why don't you just move into our home? And so we did. The thing is that she only had room for 4 of us, which was Jose, me, and our 2 youngest kids, Timmy and Sarah, and our 2 dogs. And the other 2, it was amazing because see how God provides without asking anybody for anything. It just happens when you're in the will of God. So what happened was one day, these other 2 people, they were young marrieds. They had been married about a little over a year. And she came weeping to us saying that God had spoken to her that they were supposed to house our 2 oldest children. And so we had a place to go. But it was still so painful. And you know what? I have to say that I did not act well. My heart grew a little bit hard, and I had a little bit of a bad attitude for a while towards my family. And you know, my heart, what I believe is you should always, like when you've been given something, you should take care of it beautifully. Well, I was so angry that I cleaned, but I did not do the best job of cleaning before we left that house. I mean, it could have been spotless, and it wasn't. And then on top of that, our mice problem. And so after the house sat there, after we moved out, the house sat there for a couple of months before my brother had time to come and deal with it, to sell it. And when they arrived there, I'm very, very ashamed that because of the mice smell and everything, it was a horrendous thing for them to find. And so I deeply regret that I didn't handle that better for my family. But thank God since then I've asked forgiveness and we have made up. I mean, I didn't leave it a disaster, but you know, I could have handed it over to them in better shape. So, but we've made amends, thank God, and they've forgiven. But anyway, so we hurried up and we got out on the deadline, which was April 30th. Of 2005, our friends came and picked us up since we no longer had a vehicle. And okay, this was our new living arrangement. Okay, they only had room they had a little, our 2 children, Timmy and Sarah, were able to sleep. I forget exactly where they slept, but there was beds for them. And Jose, there was a single-sized bed for Jose to sleep in. And what I did, I took all the blankets in our home, and there was about 16 or 17 thick quilts and everything. And what I did is that I would roll it out, all the blankets on top of each other with the top one on top of me and the dogs, because I slept with Brutus and Muffet. They also had Chihuahuas, our friends. And so Brutus and Muffet came and stayed with us there, and our little Chihuahuas. And so they slept with me in the living room, and every day, during the day, I would roll it up. We called it a big burrito. And it would just be a big, long kind of burrito over on the side of their house, and during the nighttime I would roll it out, and that was my bed. And they were so gracious to us. We ended up staying there 4.5 months. And so anyway, that is all I'm going to do for now. And then you will see later on what happened. But meanwhile, our 2 oldest, Lexi and Hannah, had a blast. We had a wonderful time with our friends where we stayed, and Lexi and Hannah had a blast staying with this couple, Charity and Zach. Anyway, that's all for now, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.